The following is a presentation of the ForceCenter podcast feed.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ken Knapsack, and that is my good friend Joseph Scrimshaw. You're ahead of me on the drinking. Welcome to ForceCenter Live.
Hello there. How are you, Ken?
You know what? Yeah. How are you? I'll get back to you.
How are we? How is everyone? Now, we know that this video will live for a while on old YouTube. However long YouTube stands, these videos go up on YouTube and they last for a while. But as we are recording live today, we have to acknowledge that this is a very, very difficult day, a very challenging day. We want to be able to offer some respite and have some fun talking about Star Wars. We had already announced this. We discussed whether or not we were going to do it. And Ken and I decided that we really wanted to. We wanted to, embrace the light side. And we always have fun doing this. We have fun taking Star Wars questions, hearing comments, and spreading a little bit of Star Wars joy. But we do want to acknowledge at the top of the show that this is a very difficult day. We absolutely support reproductive rights. We also know that people are feeling raw and upset, and that voting is not the answer to everything. But we also just strongly support voting, looking into anything that you need to figure out a voting plan. I really like the organization Vote Forward that helps you write letters to encourage other people to use their power. So we wanted to acknowledge that at the top of our broadcast and really set the tone that we want to have some fun and embrace the light side on this difficult day. Ken, did I leave anything out or say?
No, you're always eloquent and to the point, and we just want to make a point of where we stand as humans, not Star Wars podcasters, and where we stand as humans and how this affects our own lives, the people in our lives, the women in our lives. There is rage. There's where do you focus it? How do you be productive? And it's just how do you go on with your day? How do you make a sandwich and just enjoy a Friday when your partner's in her office crying? How do you do that? And there's bigger issues, and it's fun to escape into Star Wars. It's fun to talk about Star Wars. It's fun to debate Star Wars. And we're going to do all that today with you all here and have a little drink at the process and turn it all off. But Star Wars is deep, it is poignant, it is purposeful, and that's the way we choose to discuss it here in Star Wars. Star Wars is political, Star Wars is a morality play, Star Wars is big lessons, and things that you see on the screen are absolutely connected to the events of the real world. And how you digest pop culture is also how you digest the real world. It's something I'm really strong on now. Really strong on where I stand in life and how you can read an X-Men comic in the 60s. And if you don't gather its true point, you don't gather its true meaning. That is definitely on you, but that's also how you see the world. So we want to make sure, I guess, that where we are and who we are. And we, always wish Jennifer Landa can be with us all the time. We value her perspective, but especially something today, but it's a hard time for her schedule to make it. So we want to be clear about that. Anyways, I don't know if I said more than I needed to, Joseph, but I stand by you and stand by all the people having a tough day.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. And as we launch into some fun Star Wars talk, I think I know I've said it a lot, but I just always go back to it because I think it's what makes Star Wars really unique and compelling and always brings me back is there is this weird tension in Star Wars. It is absolutely silly, fun adventure serial. It is, wizards with laser swords and scoundrels and westerns with weird dog companions. It's super fun and weird. And underneath all that, it's to me like the deepest, most profound thing. There's this fun tension and challenge in that. And we always want to embrace both. At least I do. I always want to embrace like the fun side. What was the coolest scene? Which lightsaber moment was awesome? Which was the funniest line? Which the weirdest creature? But then also embrace like how can really internalizing some of these lessons help you in whatever you do in life. And for me today, it's in talking about Star Wars. So despite having some roiling emotions myself, I'm going to attempt to use the light side and be a Jedi in the way I choose to talk about Star Wars. That's my attempt.
Yeah, and I guess my final point on it here, this can come up during the show as well. Any point, we're not saying we're only talking about real world issues here at the top of the show, but yeah, I believe art is communication. I believe there's no such thing as there's just jokes. There's no such thing as, there's bad movies and bad executions of story, all that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
an industry sprung up around pointing that all out. But we believe art is communication. Art is what is in your heart and what you're trying to say, and a series that is constantly about good versus evil, but fear versus hope, and a saga that a Skywalker saga that ends with an old force of evil clinging to the power it never wants to lose, and in doing so is trying to take literally control of a woman's body, but also take the power from the next generation before to use it for his own. Star Wars has great meaning, and that's why we come to it. But we also come to it because tauntauns make funny noises.
That is a great example. I keep saying space wizards with laser swords. I'm going to change it to tauntauns sound like an agitated chihuahua to me. I know you can relate to that, Ken.
Were late in our broadcast because I had to make sure we have a long story short. We have a new one of those cool magnetic screens on the back door that so we can get some air in on a hot Burbank day. And our youngest Chihuahua, Franny, finally figure out how to get out of it on her own. And so I have found her in the backyard just lounging on the grass where she cannot be. So my day has been keeping her contained as Grace handles some stuff. So.
I understand. It is also, it's a hot day in Los Angeles, and I almost didn't put on my Jedi robe, which was fading into the Jedi archives, but I wanted to respect Jocasta Nu, and I also thought this is a reminder to stay on the light side, a heavy robe.
Heavy, yeah. I as a bald man, I wear my hat and my beanie all the time, and man, that's a tough decision. Hot town, summer in the city, back of my neck getting dirt and gritty, but we're gonna have a lot of fun talking.
Yeah, absolutely. And to cool myself off, instead of I often have a whiskey drink on these broadcasts, but I needed a nice light summer shandy, so that is what I am enjoying. Ooh. Ken, what are you enjoying?
I am not a sponsor, but truly peach tea, hard seltzer, peach flavored. It's gonna be a good one. And it was the coolest thing I had in my fridge. Brian Ward's in here. Brian Ward say, well said.
Thank you, Brian.
Brian's a sweetheart of a human, I'll tell you that much. And we've got, oh man, you know what? While we're chatting, I'm going to try to pull something in, Joseph, to that Brian helped us make here. I think I can do this technically and not upset the live stream.
I believe in you. I believe in you.
Thank you. There's two things, and I apologize. Joseph and I always we want to make sure the live ForceCenter shows have a loose format. And this is so loose. I forgot to tell you, I was thinking of doing this, of showing some of the new art of things we've been working on. So
anyway. While you're finding it here, we got a comment from Ray Kenobi who says White Claws all around today, which is a lovely celebration of White Claws. And I love that drink just for the name. It feels like that could be a last name in Star Wars, right? Like, my name is Bondi White Claw.
Bondi White Claw.
I am a Jedi.
He's up at Vandor. He's at the Fort Ipso up at Vandor, hanging out there. Absolutely there. All right, yeah. You're doing, Joseph. You're doing just the Lord's work on. I totally forgot that I was going to download this, and I didn't. But
are you downloading? Is that what's happening? Are you buffering as we speak?
I am buffering. So, anyways, Brian could probably just share it faster than me here. But anyways, do we have any questions out there? Anything we want to start getting to now? Let us know. Go for it.
Just we got a couple. We got a really great one here from Rona. Rona says, I feel that if Obi-Wan Kenobi was a musical, the part where he is under the rocks is where he would break into song. Where else would be good places where someone could break into song? Oh, yeah.
Oh, Rhoda, that's amazing to me.
Yeah, I think Kenobi doing a totally different version of I believe the children are the future in that rocks moment.
I just want it to be some gothic space opera, some kind of just like he's holding these rocks, I throw them at you now. That's what I want. I want that.
I feel like Vader would have a song that gets reprised in different keys or major minor, because I love that in the final episode where he is making everything about Kenobi, right? And the Grand Inquisitor is like, we really should go after them and destroy them in their entirety. And he's not just any Jedi. I think that would be the song.
Yeah.
He's not just any Jedi, and he's singing about gotta get Kenobi, gotta get Kenobi. And then when Palpatine is like, it seems like maybe your interest in Kenobi has weakened you. Then you get the same song, but it's like, Kenobi is no problem. It's no big deal. I can let it go.
And then you got the Grand Inquisitor over there, like, you must let it go.
Yeah, and I think for sure Little Leia would have a song. I'm trying to think of the best place for Little Leia to have a song.
I'll tell you what, it's one of our shared favorite moments, but it's definitely one that's even it's just actually can bring me to tears. It's Bale's we'll change things together moment, right? So that's Leia there, holster, gloves, boots, like, I want to change the way I do things, and Bale follows in, like, then we'll change it together, and Breia's in there. That's my moment that I want.
How will I lead? Yeah, I think that's a
how
that is a
will
great
I
one.
lead?
And then
Lola around.
yeah, for sure, yeah, and like Lola lets off fireworks. I really like Freck. I mean, I disagree with him politically, but I love the character, and I think there could be like a fun, jazzy, love to hate him that he kind of whisper sings when he gives them away to the stormtroopers. Like, I got these two, not sure about these two.
It's called That's a Weird Story. That's a weird story, and
That's a weird story.
Brennan Mar says, so great to meet you guys at Celebration. Brennan, Mystical Mar, it was great to meet you. Love it. That's a great way to start the show, singing.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're both born singers, right? So, of course. Of course.
If I could have been a singer, I would have been the rock and roll star that I always wanted to be. Wouldn't be talking ForceCenter, Star Wars stuff, which, I'm glad we ended up this way, but I wanted to be a rock star.
Yeah, well, who among us didn't?
This is the big one that we're going to answer probably in more detail, but I think it's a good teaser for where our minds are now. Joseph, Ray Kenobi sent this one in. Do you think we are getting to season 2? And I know there's been some further comments from Kathleen Kennedy, and that we're going to process all that. I wanted to watch the series and sit with it for a bit to think, what do I think in my heart, and temperature check. I don't know, where are you at right now? We don't want to answer. We're doing a wrap up with Jennifer next week. We're going to get this a little bit more, but
about whether I want one or whether you think there will be one,
which are two separate questions. Want and think. Where are you at right now?
I'm torn. To me, I feel like one of the great themes of the end of the show is letting go. I think Obi-Wan lets go of his guilt. I think he still feels responsible, but I think he lets go. I think he lets go of Anakin. I think he lets go of needing to be right on top of Luke and trusting things. And by letting go, that's what opens him up to Qui-Gon and to his next steps that he needs to do. So many great ideas about letting go. So there's a part of me that's like, I should listen to the lesson of Star Wars and let go of Kenobi. And then there's a part of me like, I don't want to though. I think I really love the comments. I think they've been very honest from Kathleen Kennedy, from Deborah Chow saying, we're thrilled to see the reception. So anytime that people absolutely love something, we really are tempted, but all of their responses have been, we have to find the why. We have to make sure there's really a story to tell. And I think that it will happen if they find a story to tell.
Yeah, absolutely. And the why is obviously important to us here at ForceCenter, and I trust the team so far. As someone who's happy with the series, I trust the team. And I think at the end of the day, I right now, you can maybe even hear it in my answers. I think I want to be good with this. I think this is a real well done, complete story. Yes, there's time between now and Twin Sons and Rebels, or even if you want to go up to New Hope. There's stuff with the Qui-Gon training. There's more things to do there, certainly. But I'm like, I think I'm good. But then I think, am I really saying I don't ever want to see Ewan McGregor doing new Obi-Wan stuff? Am I really saying that? So it's truly where you stand on letting go, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing for me is I'm fascinated by Star Wars stories where there's a steadfast character and Star Wars stories where the characters are evolving and changing. Even down to, we've talked about like the trilogies are all really becoming, right? It is Luke becoming Jedi Master Luke. It is Anakin becoming Vader. It is Rey becoming the new Jedi who will lead the way in the future. In this show is great because Obi-Wan is usually a steadfast hero who doesn't change much, and this was a journey. So there's a part of me like, we need him to change. And I see people saying it in the comments too, and I really agree with it. I think that the lessons with Qui-Gon that's where he still needs to change and grow. I think I'm sure we'll talk about this more, but going back to the great Yoda arc in Clone Wars, where it wasn't just sit and meditate for Yoda's journey. It was here are several powerful force places to physically go to. That is really intriguing. Obviously, you get all these great canon discussions of, does everybody have to do that to become a force spirit? Blah blah blah. That stuff is all interesting to discuss. But that is a really intriguing. What is Obi-Wan? He's already worked through a lot of stuff in this. So what else does he need to work through in order to truly master his fate?
Yeah, and we're obviously far out from any kind of decision, announcement, anything. We're just playing around with our emotions at this point and figuring out what we want. I could be up for, I keep making the joke of a TV movie of the week because it wouldn't be a theatrical release, but I'm okay with, by the way, I'm not opposed to a theatrical release. I'm just saying like a Disney Plus Kenobi movie, like hour and a half. He and Qui-Gon do whatever, he faces the himself. He faces Ghost Kenobi, the little cackling version of "I'm your hubris," something like that, or whatever they come up with, whatever it is. He fights water pirates. I don't know. I don't care. I'd be okay with. I don't need a series. Maybe now it's time to do an hour and a half Disney Plus movie that I can watch in the comfort of my own home. I don't know, but these are all just thoughts, early thoughts.
Yeah, there will definitely be more discussion of this coming up this week for sure on season 2.
Yeah, but and it's one of the things we kind of preach around here. I get the instant reaction industry and society we live in, and you got to get on TikTok and give your movie review as you walk out of a theater. That's very profitable. But I really like sitting with things a bit, and this series was it affected me in so many ways. I just want to sit with that for a while and see how much more I want. We'll see.
Yeah, I can't wait to just sit down and binge it all, which I haven't had a chance to do yet this week because I've been busy talking about the last episode and thinking about the last episode. But I can't wait. Yeah. Do you have your graphics that you wanted to share?
I
or
do.
Grab another question.
Well, I want to shout out. We just got a wonderful support. We appreciate your support, and it helps keep the show going here. On Tuesday on the news show, we'll definitely announce like more charities of choice and things that ForceCenter will back and support. So we appreciate your support. Keep the show going, but we'll definitely be paying it forward here. Big Lou's Workshop says Chinese takeout of ForceCenter boys. Force is strong as Friday night. I love that. I could use some Thai food right now myself here. A little comfort Thai. And then Ronaldo McWhiskey. I don't know if that's his given name, but I hope it is his real name now, because that's a name I think I want to adopt. What's your name, Ken? McWhiskey. Support, love y'all's show. Cheers. We really appreciate that. Senior Films here. Good to see Senior Film checking in here. So I'm just I want to highlight these things to support. We'll get to some of your questions here. But like Joseph said, we want to tease something a little bit. 2 shows coming your way here on the ForceCenter podcast feed. Rebroadcast will be here on YouTube as well. One of the deep dive series. We're going to do a series soon here. We've already got the first episode recorded, coming out tomorrow, right? Wow. Today's Friday. Oh boy.
It's been a busy week.
It's a series where we got about 5 or 6 episodes planned, and it's the magic of lightsaber fights. Part 1 is coming your way, where we talk a little bit overall. Then we go into the New Hope lightsaber fight. Now, we will say this: we recorded this first episode before the finale of Kenobi. So maybe we'll have to do a follow-up to see if it changed any of our opinions. But this series is coming your way. We're going to do, what do we say, Joe's about 6 planned, right?
Yeah, we'll see if it changes. We want to have finally learned our lesson that if we try to take on too much of a topic, our episodes are 3 hours. So what we're really trying to do, because at first, when I thought of this idea of like, let's really dive into the lightsaber fights and talk about what's cool about them, the thrill of them, but also like the ideas of them, I was like, we'll do one for the original trilogy, one for the prequel trilogy. And then I was like, who am I kidding? Let's break it down. So that first one that we're releasing soon is, just a little bit of big picture, A New Hope. Our next one will be just Empire and Jedi. And then from there, we'll probably around 6-ish.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think after the last Kenobi episode, we've got at least one more to do.
We might indeed. So that's coming your way. Like I said, starting Saturday, June 25th, which is tomorrow at the time of this live show. You might be watching this later. And then a lot of you might have enjoyed, we hope you did, the first season of a series we did exclusively for the fine folks at The Companion. Tommy Terry Green sometimes is in chat. Tommy, if you're here or listening later, we love working with them. We did a show called Databank Dive, but now the second season Beyond will be open to everyone. It was an exclusive show at The Companion. That first season still lives, but Databank Dive will be coming to the ForceCenter podcast feed as a series. We're going to do like 6-episode bursts. It's a fun. It's a fun show, number one. But Joseph, that's kind of the point. It is. We love going so deep. We'll spend 2 hours on Dexter, but now we're going to spend 30 minutes on the food Kenobi ate in his cave.
Yes, the drink that he has at Dexter's. Yeah. When
Yeah.
we did this, we did, like Ken was saying, we did this for this great app called The Companion. And it was on their system. So, we did things like when we're doing it, it was right around when Boba Fett was coming out. So we talked about Boba Fett's knee darts, and we talked about Max Rebo and the great limb debate. This is before I think we saw the butt crack maquette of Max Rebo, so maybe we'll talk about just that. But yeah, it really was, designed to be. It's half an hour. Sometimes we got out of control and went to 32 or 33 minutes, but we're really holding ourselves to. It's a short show talking about one specific thing, telling our real Star Wars feelings about it, but having fun with it. And we're also kind of hoping that we're so blessed to have a listenership who I think is, for the most part, not everybody has time to watch and read everything, but everybody's really all in. We also want to have a show that's like, hey, if you've seen the movies, and that's kind of it. That's something that still invites you in, because sometimes I think everybody here listening we talking on the podcast, and everybody listening can go deep, and we want to have something where it's a little bit more accessible as well.
Absolutely. And a lot of people, thanks for the nice comments. A lot of people in chat, like definitely not Trey, saying, but we want 3-hour episodes. We love 3-hour episodes. It does take a lot to do. But the reality is we try to make sure ForceCenter moves forward and grows, changes, and adapts. We keep what we are. We expand on what we are, but we also make sure we, want to try to pull in more voices, more eyes, more ears into the community. So we hope these kind of shows will help too. So there you go. All right. Do you have a question on your mind there, Joseph, that you've seen, or I can pull one in here?
Go for it. You if you have one ready to go.
Yeah, Adelardo Fuente says, I really love the show and it was more than what I could hope for. But if we get a season 2, I wish for some Beru and Kenobi flirting. What about you? I don't want to, that's not fair to Owen to say I'm wishing for it, but I loved the moment, and it had way more to do with flirting, of course, and I don't think that's what Adelardo was talking about, but just that Beru moment. You love it too, Joseph, of just like, whose fault is that?
Golden, right? It was so great that she was so proactive about, we have to deal with reality. We have to face this. We're enough. So many great lines. The shotguns, the cold cock when Reva came through the door. But Ben's gone. Whose fault is that? That is just. Those are the words of somebody who lives with a grumpy person 24/7 and loves them very deeply, but knows they sometimes need a mirror.
Now that
I'm going to be your mirror in this moment, Owen.
No, great Clem Snide song. Now that you think about it, Joseph, Beru does sound like Grace in that moment. Yeah, living with a grumpy person 24 hours a day. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, this is a really fun question. My headcanon, and from what we've seen, I think Owen and Beru are deeply in love. They've been together a long time. I think even though she needs to hold up a mirror to Owen, I think that she truly loves him. But then Kenobi is flirty. Here's the other thing that I think is fascinating about analyzing it from the Kenobi side. I think Kenobi has 2 gears of flirting on purpose. And whoops, I didn't mean to flirt. I'm just Kenobi, and I'm so damn charming. We see him. He has great love for Satine, and that flirting is full on flirting, right? But then there's a sort of sassy, this is a part of our battle, Asajj Ventress, and it almost feels like Asajj is kind of flirty with him, so I'll flirt back. And then the same thing happens in the Great Bounty Hunters episode with the bounty hunter Sugi, where there's some flirtiness. But then you have the and I know some people have different opinions about this, so I will state mine. I don't think Kenobi has feelings for Padme.
No.
I think he really respects her, but just by being super charming Kenobi, who's like, "Hey, don't worry about it, Anakin. I can also sense what's going on in that room. I'll protect her, and it's great to
Yep.
see you again." Anakin's like, "Stay away." And some of that is, I think, Anakin being, young and defensive and not being Anakin, right?
Yeah, being
But
angry.
I think that Kenobi could smile at Brew, and Owen could be like, "Stop flirting with my wife." I see that. I
Sorry.
see that.
Yeah, I'm not laughing. Male possession of women is not a laughing matter to me, but it just also tracks for Owen and the character of Owen being that grump that you say.
Yeah,
And I agree with you on Kenobi. There's just a natural charm that oozes off of him. I think a lot of people in the galaxy find themselves flirting with Kenobi, and they don't even mean it, and they don't even know it, and they didn't plan it. They just were like, suddenly, I'm flirting with the mullet guy. I think it
Yep.
counts.
In fact, I'd be happy with season 2 being called Kenobi: accidental flirting. That would be great.
Love that. Thank you for that question. That was amazing. All right. All right.
Yeah. And we should grab. Ooh, this is an interesting one. From Joshua Bernard.
Okay. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
I have
And
to
I
scroll down. Yeah.
think there we go. I think that this is a question that has we might come up on our questions episode this coming week as well. But I want to address it here since the generous money was involved, the credits. Thank you very much for that, Joshua, and everyone else. But of course, Joshua says here, as you can see on the screen, do you think the alien we see in part 6 of Kenobi working at the part shop is based on Wilford Brimley?
Yeah. Wilford Brimley was 31 in Cocoon. Yeah. The answer is yes. The answer has to be yes.
I mean, he's gruff, right? He's gruff but friendly. That alien, but it's the fringe right at the bottom that looks very like half of his head is a no nonsense mustache, right?
It is. It's really no nonsense. I mean, he looks more like Martin Van Buren than Wilford Brimley to me, but yeah, I'm gonna go back and look at that because we do have Wilford Brimley in the Star Wars world. So you know what I'm gonna do? I got it. I'm gonna go grab the Ewok adventure right now. Let me see.
Okay. He's not kidding, and he's not downloading it. He's physically downloading it from.
But you know what the problem is? Oh my gosh, Brimley's not on the cover of this two-pack.
Well, how did they expect people to purchase that DVD with no Wilford Brimley on it?
Yeah. Sindel's here. We got Ewoks with their weird eyes. Talk about weird eyes. Yeah, no Wilford Brimley on this packaging. That's troubling, everybody. That's troubling.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a more deep. Yeah. Look, that's a still photo, and I can tell that Ewok's eyes aren't blinking. That's a 1,000-yard stare.
Sorry, I thought I was looking over. I was like, I think Brimley's on the cover there. I'll grab it.
I'm going to do a deeper dive on, for my own self, a compare and contrast visually on that alien in Wilford Brimley. I did like that he came across as friendly but gruff and would give you life advice at the absolute drop of a hat. I wonder if Owen goes into that shop without a Luke, and those two, that alien and Owen, can communicate entirely by grunting. No actual spoken words, just
that was actually one of my favorite Owen moments because it is such grumpy Owen. And as a grump, I recognize game of just like, not everybody. I'm not totally patient. Just Owen having all that energy was great.
I thought so too. Absolutely wonderful. We'll dive a little bit deeper into the compare contrast of those aliens. Ooh, yeah. You know what? I pulled up Wilford Brimley on the internet, and it's not just the mustache; it's the angle, the energy of it. I see it. I see it now.
I love that. Trey T has a great comment here. The next story we need is that of the Tatooine real estate agent who finds Obi-Wan in his hut. Thanks for the live show. Thank you, Trey, for that. I'm not gonna. Again, I am in love with this Kenobi series. I am slightly 1% of me is bummed that we didn't see him moving into that hut. I don't know why. I just wanted to see him. Oh, I think I'll stay here now. I don't know. It means nothing to the story, but would have been kind of fun.
Look, just the tiny bit of bartering that we got to see between Obi-Wan and Tika the Jawa, that was one of my favorite beats. Even super depressed Kenobi has a little bit of a sense of humor. Like, if you could
Yeah.
not sell me my stuff back to me all broken, as a courtesy. It's such an Obi-Wan line. I would
Yep.
love to see him having a polite dance with a gruff real estate agent of Tatooine.
You're charging me too much. This is the market locally is not just not to
Yeah.
take price. That'd be great. That'd be great. Question comes in from our buddy Ken Plume. Hey, you all should be checking out Ken Plume's show Force 5, which Joseph and I have both been on separately now, which is the show where we rank our favorite Star Wars action figures in our collection, like the Emperor's Royal Guard that Joseph picked up for me at Celebration. What a great day that was, huh? Ken Plume, thanks for the support, Ken. I call him Ken Prime to my Ken, not Prime. He says, hey, pals, across the entire saga, please rank your favorite versions of Obi-Wan as a character.
Hmm.
Oh, man, we didn't have time. I don't have time. That's homework.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole episode, and also, they're all my favorite. They're all one character is my honest, true answer. That's my honest answer. Like if I had to put my hand on a copy of George Lucas's final shooting draft script of A New Hope and swear that's my true in my heart answer. They're all my favorite because it's all one character. But I also want to have fun and embrace fun. So I think I think just like aesthetically, Revenge of the Sith, it has a special place in my heart because I just feel like it's where he comes together and looks his absolute coolest. The haircut's on point.
Yeah.
The beard is on point. He's got this like, look, I'm going around and I'm doing what I have to do. I'm fighting these wars. I love that he drops a robe and just litters the galaxy with robes. He does it 3 times in Revenge of the Sith. My last viewing, I realized the galaxy. I mean, over the course of the Clone Wars, how many robes?
How
So
many robes?
I'll go Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
Then I will go the Kenobi at the end of. Well, I'll just go the Kenobi in the TV show we just got. I'm loving grizzled, older, depressed
Yeah.
Obi-Wan. Then I'll go Clone Wars Obi-Wan, sassy, flirting Clone Wars, clone armor wearing. Then I'll go Attack of the Clones, because in some ways that's some of the best Kenobi because of the detective work.
Yeah.
All of the detective work and all of the attitude of just like, this is my day job.
Yeah.
I love that. This is why I hate flying. I love I hope you release me soon, Dooku. Good. I have work to do. All great stuff. Then probably, actual classic A New Hope. Then we'll go Phantom Menace, young and ready to get into action. The negotiations were short, Master. That's Spirit Obi-Wan. See, now once I get to the first 2 or 3 are fun, and then when I get to the bottom of a ranked list, that's when like my soul drops through a trap door. I can't rate a Kenobi low. That's not in my essence to rate a Kenobi low.
No, I know this is tough for you. This is almost unfair to throw it on you. We'll blame Ken Plume on that one. Yeah, because I'll tell you right now, a Force Ghost log sitting Kenobi from Return of the Jedi might be one of my favorites. It's just everything about the energy. I know there's something just kind of like, look, we either got to get this done or not. I'm sorry I said this stuff. Let's do this. I don't know. There's something I like about it. And I appreciate sitting down. I think, see, Attack of the Clones is great because that's Dexter Jettster's buddy. Like, that's the energy I really love about Kenobi, and and I think that one builds so well off of what Guinness did in A New Hope. I think Attack of the Clones might be that, and then it's hard not. I mean, it's the freshest in our minds. But I said on the show this week, I even love cut and meat Kenobi. Butcher Kenobi is still a favorite of mine.
Oh yeah, Butcher Kenobi. I managed to smash the link on that vintage collection pre-order that comes with a blue shirt, meat cutting. I've said this multiple times, but that is the exact color blue of the shirt I used to wear when I worked at Kinko's. So that's my Kinko's Kenobi.
Yeah.
Also came with Tika and a Purge Trooper. Great stuff.
Yeah. Man. So Ken, we'll come back to you on that with a full answer. That's a great question. Great question.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me see. Let me scroll around here. Want to make sure that we get plenty of the questions, and I know that some of them came in a little bit earlier. There's
Yep.
more musical.
I want to change how I rule all the wrong when I take over as queen.
Well, let's talk about this one. This comes early from Nick Field, and it says this question concerns power fantasies. To me, this series featured two moments: Vader burning Obi-Wan and Obi-Wan tossing rocks at Vader, that felt more at home in an MCU movie. Do you agree or disagree? When we're happy to talk about things that people weren't sure about and liked, and everybody's being super cool in the chat. Thank you so much. We're always happy to talk about things that maybe people weren't sure about or wondered about, as long as those questions are expressed in a kind and respectful way. So thank you all so much for doing that. We are really lucky to have such great listeners and watchers today. So for that question, Ken, I got a couple thoughts. I think for me, the thing about the term power fantasy is really fascinating, because to me there's a light side and a dark side of power fantasy in storytelling, but particularly in Star Wars. I think where it's the power fantasy where you kind of want to pretend you have a lightsaber, where we all want to be Star Wars kids.
Yeah.
We want
I-
I want to go out into a park and bring one of my lightsabers and practice passing my lightsaber behind my back like Obi-Wan Kenobi did in that fight with Vader. And I think enjoying the fights and pretending to use the Force on doors at grocery stores to automatically open them, I think that fantasy of having power is just engaging with the fact that it's an adventure serial, that it's
Right.
action adventure, and it's fun. And then I think the dark side of the power fantasy is if you watch Star Wars, you think the power is really cool, and you come away with the morality that power solves everything. Because that's not, to me, the story of Star Wars. And that's, if I ever say anything negative about power fantasy, I'm like when people are just like, I want to be Darth Vader and use power to crush everything I hate. That's power fantasy that's bad for me. So that's one part of it. And then the second part is just the actual construction of those action scenes. Are they elevated to a place where they're different than other Star Wars? So I want to pause and see what you think about just the general power fantasy question, and then we can talk about those specific scenes.
Yeah, I mean, if the question is agree or disagree, I would say disagree. But life's not a episode of movie debate show, so we can dig in a little deeper here. I think you and I have always been on the same page on the power fantasy thing, and it's not even that it's inherently bad. I always go to like Star Killer and Force Unleashed. I love playing both games. I played both versions. The first game is better and generally more well received, but that is an example of whoa, you can bring a starship down, and whoa. And I think over time that has been, and trust me, I loved that level, though it was hard for me to master. I love that. I think it does translate into the cult of Vader, which is we have in story the acolytes of beyond, Kylo Ren, those kind of people who worship this idea of this all powerful soldier of darkness going around the galaxy. And I think I see a lot of people straight up worshiping that in a lot of ways. And you and I believe that everything about Vader is this power that gets him nothing, that this rage that gets him nothing, the deal with the devil that actually hurts him more and imprisons him and causes him to lose those he loves. So I think that's when I hear that term power fantasy, or we talk about it, I go to that stuff of just not even recognizing that. And let's just say this dragging Kenobi through the fire, it was horribly brutal. It was evil. It was pure vengeance. And I wouldn't want anyone to celebrate that, right? That's a scary fantasy to have, right? And there's a lesson in watching him do that. And then the Kenobi one, I think, is just a matter of, you and I were talking about, and this is something you brought up of off air too, of just it's Kenobi matching it almost as if this, you could do that, I can do this, we're gonna do this all day. It changes nothing, the cycle repeats, and that's what that final fight is about in a lot of ways to us. Just as Force and Brand. So that's where I start with a power fantasy thing. Does it fit better in Marvel? I really understand that. I understand that comes up with like humor. I've even, I want to make sure we don't have a shake weight joke in Star Wars. So I get that. I don't necessarily agree with it overall. I don't think I know what fully, like, it's not a MCU thing because it's in Star Wars. That's just a simple way to look at it, but that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I think
but I get it's a tone thing sometimes.
Yeah, and I think anybody who, we're always all of us going to have our different tone opinions about what feels right in Star Wars or not. That's always going to be a discussion, and often it's a fun one. For me, I think the action, just the action adventure, the way that ideas are expressed through cool action set pieces evolves. Right? We talk about this on our Magic of Lightsaber fights. That the fight between Vader in Kenobi and A New Hope is smaller because that's what they could do, and then it explodes in contrast by the time you get to Empire. Even by the time you get to Jedi, you're seeing Luke do lots more stuff, right? Deflecting
Mhm.
blaster bolts with his lightsaber and the huge flips and floating
Yeah.
3PO and all that. And then when we go into the prequels, we get an escalation where Lucas is saying they're at their height, so look at how fast they can go. Look at all the things they can do. I think that there is a natural sort of evolution in it, and to me, the those action moments there's nothing about them that feel out of step with evolving and keeping force powers in the way they're visualized kind of fresh. It is an incredibly weird thing to say. I love the scene where Vader burns Kenobi. I love it because it's a well told scene of that. Sometimes the simplicity of vengeance of just, I want you to experience exactly what I did. I think of that scene of him. It's him dragging Kenobi into the past. It's brutal and it's hard. I
Yeah.
feel weird saying I love seeing a scene where my favorite character is brutally burned, but
Sure.
I love it because it's the storytelling. It's the big, scary, interesting action telling a story. Same thing with the rocks. I really do feel like it is Kenobi has decided to fight. He thinks about the kids and he thinks, I gotta fight, I gotta fight. And he is using all of his power to fight. And I love that moment. And
Mhm.
it doesn't feel too much like anything else, or for me, visually, special effects wise, it looks very Star Wars. It looks like, it continues the great rock discussion of
Yeah.
how much does it matter that you can move a rock? Well, sometimes it matters.
Yeah. 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 But yeah, always up for your own interpretations of it there, without a doubt. But yeah, and one final thought. I think in terms of like just the power fantasy conversation again, I think for Vader it is a bit of a ongoing power fantasy, which is part of the problem with him, right? Like
Mhm.
he's buying into all of that, as we were kind of saying up top. So in a way that kind of works. But yeah, and as for those two moments, I do love both of them as well, which I understand. Like you said, it's weird to root for that kind of brutality, but yes, I get it. Get it. It was compelling to watch.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, it all works. Any other thoughts, Ken, or should we move on to another question?
Yeah, let's move on here. We got a comment from Anakin Crespin. For me, there are not many things I enjoy more than the Force Center podcast, but Force Center Live is indeed among them. Well, thank you. We're having a lot of fun doing this, and it's
Cheers.
yeah, good to see you in comments. Matty Gunner, who we met at Star Wars Celebration, is here. Wants a Tika spinoff. I mean, and he's saying Pawn Stars. I would absolutely. Oh, I used to watch Pawn Stars far too much back in the day. Love that.
Antique Roadshow. I would like Tika to host Antique Roadshow with a really stiff British person, or what, a droid, a really stiff droid with a British
Oh my
accent,
god.
and Tika just going from county to county, telling you whether your stuff is valuable or not.
That'd be amazing. Jay Bell says, could Kenobi have physically defeated Vader in A New Hope if he
Mm,
wanted to and wasn't planning on becoming a ghost? Seeing some people claim this now.
mm.
I'm trying to think if I don't know if we discussed that directly in our episode. Maybe. I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the great things is we're in this great place where the Kenobi show has reopened some Kenobi discussions.
Mhm.
And sometimes I think for myself, I'll be like, oh, maybe I'll look at that moment in a new way, and other times, nah.
Mm.
For myself, I still think no. I just think the way
Yeah.
that the film is shot and constructed, the way Alec Guinness makes the choices, it just feels to me that he is 100% aware that Vader's going to be obsessing on me. I need him to not pay any attention to Luke or Leia. They're together. They're older. I need him to not sense them, and I physically need them to get away. I will be a distraction. I know from experience that works really well,
Yeah.
and I think when he says to Luke on Tatooine, "I'm getting too old for this sort of thing." The
Mm.
original, "I'm too old for this bleep," is I don't think he's manipulating Luke. I don't think he's BSing. I
No.
think he's like, these sons have been hard on me. And I think when Vader says your powers are weak, old man, I just believe that he knows that Kenobi knows it's a different kind of fight this time around, and that
Yeah.
he's just keeping Vader busy as long as he can, and that there's no way that he can lose this fight. As long as Luke and Leia get away, those are his victory conditions. As long as that happens, there's no way he can lose this fight. He just needs to stay in it long enough for Luke and Leia to get away.
Yeah, that's always been kind of the tension that's there, even on his face of just like, I got to stay alive. I got to stay alive, and how hard it is at that time. And look, that now we can say we've got 9 more, almost 10 years of anger and rage building up in Vader, and the fact that he tells Tarkin escape is not his plan. He's like, he still knows I'm gonna win, but I need that win. It's that obsession with Vader coming through, and so there's a lot of power there, which is why we love that fight and why we broke it down on our start of our series, the magic of lightsaber farts. Lightsaber fights.
I think I had that slip on a recent episode too, where I said lightsaber farts, and thank you for just letting it go, Ken. And then, as always, we want to credit the wonderful Brian Ward who made that graphic for us.
Oh yeah, of course. Brian is the best in the business. Now he's going to do a poster called Lightsaber Farts. And,
the magic of lightsaber
farts. I've been talking all week. We got some great follow-ups there. Antica Roadshow, Storage Wars Tatooine. This is what these are the things we love doing it here. Will McClain wants a Dexter's Diner sitcom. Yes. It's someone that used to grow up watching was it Mel's the TV show based on Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore with Mel and Kiss My Grits and all that stuff. I would love that. Yeah,
no, that would be amazing.
Yeah. All right. Trying to recover from the fact that I said lightsaber farts. Let's move on. Anything jump out to you, sir?
Yeah, we got a new one right here from Adelardo Fuente. And Adelardo says, with Tale of the Jedi as a medium, I am wondering what stories would be amazing. And I go to Leia and Force Ghost Kenobi conversations. I'm crying. Yeah. I didn't get to see, we didn't go to the Tales of the Jedi panel, but we kindly had friends describe them in detail and get the sense that there are these very short tone poem like moments with Ahsoka, right, and Dooku, and if it's successful, I would imagine there could be future seasons, and it's kind of perfect for some of these. Exactly to me, what Adelardo is talking about, and I know what a lot of us always talk about, is kind of just wanting a moment between characters.
Yeah,
but, I mean, maybe it doesn't have to be a huge, high stakes. This character goes through a massive change, but just a little grace moment. And it's great when we can get a story and those fit in. But with larger Star Wars story, we want a character to be going through a massive crisis internally. We like there to be high stakes. And it's great to think that there'd be a show like Tales of the Jedi where it's just like, did Mace Windu ever get a life lesson from Oppo Rancisis? I mean, that's not as emotionally deep, but right. But like, in Luke and Leia's, is there a scene of Luke and Leia's training? That kind of thing, where you can just get those little grace moments, those little tone poems between characters,
Yeah, I think there's wide open potential for this series because it was something that, I've been rumored for a while, and that weird kind of promotional art leak or whatever it was. It wasn't moving the needle for me anyways. I was like, I'll find out what it is. And when I see it, and then, we didn't go to the panel, and I think we literally had Alex and Molly describe it to us. We're like, all right, talk slowly. Tell me what happened. What was Filoni wearing? And I really, I think it won me over. I think just what it was won me over. And like I said, something that wouldn't be a strong enough basis for an entire movie or series or anything like that. I just love that idea of just like playing around with some of those smaller moments that are all equally as important and equally as big and things we want to see.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And here's the one that I want, the heartbreaker that I want. I've got this kind of headcanon, I guess not entirely headcanon, it's probably accurate timeline-wise, that Terra Nube was obviously already around in the Jedi Temple when young Obi-Wan Kenobi arrived. I want Terra Nube teaching very young Obi-Wan Kenobi a lesson. So my heart could break even more when I rewatch the Obi-Wan Kenobi television show. And I just like more Tara Snoop.
Yeah, I love that. That would be Alice, right? BC Tiller says that's Alice. Yeah, Alice. That's right. That was the name of the show. And I guess I have to bring this one up, Joseph, real quick. How much force do you need to wield the lightsaber for? You know what? It's you have to give into a lot of rage. All right, that's all I'll say there. All right,
It is
moving on.
an elegant weapon from a more civilized age. Yes.
Ken Blooms is down for Obi and Ekmana opening a B&B. That's a good idea too. I'd like that.
Yeah, Obi's place for sure.
Obi's place. All right. You want? I got one here. I like.
Yeah, go for it.
From Flicky. Flicky says Sith Lords are a speciality. Joke? Question mark. So we'll come back to that. Any room for in canon for another Sith apprentice to get destroyed by Anakin and Kenobi after Maul and before? Yeah. First of all, first is a joke. Yeah, I think I've always taken the line from Kenobi to be like obviously jokey. It's that natural charismatic flirting ability Kenobi has. I guess he's almost flirting in that line. You know, I take it as, you know, hey, we're the Jedi. We fight the Sith. This is what we do, despite having not really done it for 1,000 years. I love the even in universe kind of joke of like, you know, yeah, we could do this all day, but it doesn't always go our way. We've had some tough times. Everything. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of always I take it as a joke in universe. That makes any sense. I don't know.
Dynamo in the comment sections took the words right out of my mouth. Dynamo says, I think Obi said that because Palpatine just said they are inferior to Dooku and the Jedi serve the Senate, so you must respond in a confident way. The serving the Senate is that's an interesting thing that I haven't thought about, but I really agree with the first half of what Dynamo said. I'd have to think about the second half a little bit more for myself, but the first half, I really think like you got to remember that Obi-Wan's not a big fan of politics and politicians. He doesn't particularly like that he's been observing Palpatine holding on to power for so long. As he says in Revenge of the Sith, we see lots of moments in the Clone Wars where they don't like how much Palpatine is getting in their business. And I think it's a dig from like, hey, Obi-Wan, I know you dropped everything you were doing and planned this mission to rescue me. Now that you're here, let me, Palpatine, just say, you're not really up for it. I think, you know, Chancellor Sith Lords are a speciality is a very charming way to say F you. Yeah. Because it is the Jedi speciality. It's one of my favorite lines. Sith Lords are a speciality. Because it is Jedi are probably the people you want to go to stop a Sith Lord.
Yeah.
And overall, Obi-Wan's whether or not you go canonically like this question in order, Obi-Wan's track record is pretty good. It's mostly just Dooku he has a problem with. He takes Maul multiple times. He he cuts Maul in half once, fully ends him another time. Defeats or escapes him at other times. And Obi-Wan and Anakin together, as people have said in the comments, kind of take it to Dooku at moments in the Clone Wars. Grievous is a Sith Lord, but he beats him. He beats Anakin on Mustafar. Many other anyway I'm getting up in my Kenobi feelings. I gotta take a deep breath.
He's got a good batting average, you know.
He's got a really good batting average, and I for me it's Dooku's lightsaber fights are they're not just who has the most power, who has the most technique. They're about getting in each other's heads. Obi-Wan almost always can match Vader or take him because he can get in his head, and I think this is my headcanon. I don't think it's too explicit in universe, but I think Dooku gets in Kenobi's head. And I think that's why Kenobi has a hard time with Dooku in particular.
I really absolutely believe that. That's the part of the beauty of the story of Attack of Clones that you and I love. Some of the stuff between Kenobi and Dooku and all the stuff. As far as like another Sith apprentice, I don't know. That truly has hit me hard, Joseph. I haven't it like woo.
Got a little
in one of those
peach flavor blocking your lips.
I always say I have those word burritos. I put all the right words in the burrito. I wrap it up and I take a bite and the words go everywhere. That's me. But I'll say this. I don't want another Sith apprentice between Maul and Dooku. And that's always dangerous when we say as Star Wars fans, you always want to be open to what they might tell you. I just, again, have always lived with that idea. Maul goes, Palpatine's like, that's a shame. Hey, but this is more in line what I need to do. we need to approach this another way. This guy's leaving the orders. One of the last 20. Let's build this. And I think it's a slow build and it's a slow burn. Though Palpatine spent obviously a lot of time with Maul to that point in Phantom Menace. This we know. So I like that idea, and that I'd love more storytelling of Dooku and Palpatine kind of forming and training and the actual switch and working. That said, yeah, there's some time there. There's some time, and a new dark side user with a cool costume or something like that can always be fun and always be part of the story. And we know Palpatine's always going to examine and look and think of his options. Even when he's got the damaged goods that are Darth Vader at his side, finally, it's not, in the end, damn Kenobi ruined him a bit for me. So I got to think and test him and think what I might want to do if this fails. And look, now he's got a son. That's even better. So we know that's part of the Sith playbook. So I could see some room and be open to it. But anyways, that's kind of where I'd want to go. Just Maul to Dooku.
Yeah, I also just think with all of the Clone Wars animated series, there's kind of we've not officially a Sith and didn't kill her, but hey, we've been fighting Asajj, we've been fighting Grievous, we've been fighting Dooku, we've been fighting this war, and we've been holding our own, stopping lots of plots.
Yeah.
And now suddenly I show up to rescue you, and I'm not good enough.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Stop me, Ken. Take another question before I keep saying more Kenobi thoughts.
I will take one. And yes, as always, we focus on super chats, but we see a lot of other great questions coming on in here. We're not a show that is out here begging too much for super chats. We just appreciate all of them to help keep the show going. And like I said, we will be paying it forward with our focus on charities this coming week too. Don't worry about that here. But that dude asked this: are there any pieces of concept art from Kenobi that you're looking forward to seeing based on what we saw on the screen? Love this question. There was a bit of a different format to the credits because it was a different series. And I liked that. I love the Mandalorian and Boba Fett concept art credits. I really do. And the music, Fett. All happy with that. But I love that this had more of a classic feel, and I love that. But yeah, I am dying. I'm dying for Phil Szostak and team to get a Art of Kenobi book out.
Wow.
I would love that. So this is a great question. That dude, Joseph, do you have any things your mind goes to right away?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Kenobi saving Leia the first time when he's struggling to use the Force, what that might have looked like in art form. A lot from the last confrontation. Some of my favorite shots in Kenobi, one of my new favorite shots in all of Star Wars is that sequence of shots when Kenobi and Vader first get to Rocky Barren Let's Fight planet. And it's just so very pulpy, so very sci-fi.
Sorry, I think that's the planet's name. Let's Fight a Con or something like that. Let's
fight a con.
Yeah.
Rocky Barren Let's Fight planet. I love that image. I do really love the image. It's powerful. It's meaningful. We can all discuss the meaning, but the image of Kenobi lifting those rocks, that's one that seems like that was some concept art. And I would love to see that.
Yeah. For me, a lot of them are. It's funny because I go to like Fortress Inquisitorius, but I'm like, well, we've Fallen Order. There's a book about the Fallen Order art, and everything. So maybe we've already seen that. But I do love kind of those big, like, we're gonna picture this big planet or set piece, and let's explore it. And you get the early art. I love that, like the early stuff of Rey taking the Falcon into the ruins of the Death Star from Force Awakens. That it didn't make that movie, but did make 9. So. Some of it, at least the concept. So that Dayu would be interesting to me in terms of that. But also just like the costuming, the concepts behind the costumes of little Leia, and how they, a lot of them obviously there are homages and poetry, Star Wars poetry to what she wears in the original trilogy and the classic looks and everything, but it's more than just that, right? And it's just like, how do you come up with that? And how do you make it right? And how do you design little Leia? I can't wait to see some of that art that they do a lot of. If we get it, nothing announced as far as I know. But that'd be great for me to see as well. Alderaan, obviously they did a great job expanding on what we the little we see of it in Revenge of the Sith, but even just kind of imagining the landscape, and then eventually settling on Lake Arrowhead locally here, about 2 hours from where I'm broadcasting now. Some of that kind of stuff, because that's a classic Star Wars planet and a name. We've so long to actually kind of say, all right, what would it feel like to be running around Alderaan? Let's actually go through with that inside and out with Leia and her family.
Oh yeah, Freck. Sorry, I'm Freck obsessed. But if they went through with different visions of what Freck might look like, I would love to see that. Yeah, I also those art of books always have like really interesting discussions in the text as well. So that would be some great, great Kenobi stuff. Oh, the flashback to Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
I love in the teaser that concept art of Vader in his castle on Mustafar accepting hollow calls, because it totally looks so cool and badass, and it's everything you want out of a throne and a lava castle for me. But it's also just totally cracks me up because it really does look like Vader working from home, and like there's a whole. Couldn't this have been a phone call, or an email? What did I have to put on limbs for this call? So if they have more of that concept art, I love that concept art. And I love that it paid off with the whole Palpatine.
Yeah. Oh my God, with the hands. I wonder where they shot that with McDermott. I'm wondering if at some point they were like, "Don't worry, you don't need to fly out. We'll ship you the robe, set up the camera in your bedroom, just shoot you there."
I really feel like, that is in his nice, flat in London, that they came over with some makeup and a camera, and like this is a Zoom call with Sheev, basically.
Awesome. Great stuff. Great question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking a look for more questions.
I have one deep though.
Go for it.
Bador, our friend Bador is in chat. Bador, good to see you. We love having you around these parts. Says, I have a question. She says, 2 exclamation points. Why do you think Kenobi shut himself off from the Force? If he was meant to train Luke, would he need to train himself too? So I guess that's the question: is do we think, Joseph, at any point that he shut himself off from the Force in any way, to any level, completely? Thoughts on that, and then a little bit more on the training of Luke there.
Yeah, I kind of enjoy the ambiguity right now. Like, I feel like Luke shut the door, right? Like Rey couldn't even sense him, right? Like Luke is actively being like, no. Luke is like that gif of Kenobi from Revenge of the Sith where he slides the door shut and it says nope. I feel like Kenobi clearly was not reaching out for it, right? So to me, there is this fun ambiguity of like, are there levels? Did he shut himself off as much as Luke did, like on purpose? So he could kind of not be reached, or is he just not reaching out himself? And at what point did he do that? Was it a slow thing? I feel like, what's sort of implied by it being 10 years later is that he knows that he went to Tatooine with 2 missions from the end of Revenge of the Sith, which is to watch over Luke and to commune with Qui-Gon. And it kind of seems like he's reaching out in a very tentative way and wants Qui-Gon to chat.
Yeah.
But Qui-Gon's not answering. So I kind of like the picture of he gets there and he's watching over Luke, and maybe he reaches out to Qui-Gon a little bit, but he's full of trauma, right? And then he just kind of settles into a trauma groove.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where we meet him. And, maybe there's room for a story where he tries to use the Force, or, like so many great stories, including the Kenobi novel by John Jackson Miller, where he kind of has an instinct to get involved and it's really difficult, and maybe he shuts down more. That's my thought, is that he knows he has his training for Qui-Gon, but the trauma is keeping him from fully training up.
Yeah, I think we're of a similar mind there, and I'd have to go back and watch episode 1 again. I've seen it a few times, but I want to go watch him cut some meat slowly. And there's something in that Owen conversation to me, plus what you're saying of him. He is trying to use the Force to communicate to Qui-Gon, but the passion's gone, right? The faith is gone. The routine is there. And I love there's an energy to what Owen's saying of kind of like, and this is my interpretation of that first Owen conversation of like, yeah, I don't even think you care about the boy. I'm with him every day. I do. I think you're just waiting for him to show. waiting for him to train.
Mhm.
And that's just what you're here for. And right or wrong, to me, kind of has that, like, I care about him. Baru cares about him.
Mhm.
I choose fear. Baru chooses hope, but we both care about him in our own way. And that it's a little bit of going through the motions. Plus, what you're saying, when he's working at the meat factory there, in that first interaction where the Coen brothers villain boss pushes the guy in front of him, and Kenobi's thinking, I should do something. I could do something. And 10 years ago, I would have done something, but I can't, because if I even try to tap into the light side here, I could be discovered. And there's a lot of fear running through him, and a lot of fear of his own connection with the Force, which is, to me, where, he kind of emerges from that. But that's just kind of my gut reaction to that question of, I don't think he definitely didn't pull a Luke and Octo. He didn't take a Borash vow or anything, whatever that's
Mhm.
called. I forget, but he's just like, no, I'm still here because I have this mission. I have this mission, but he's not understanding what the mission. What's that meme? Kenobi understood the assignment. He misunderstood the assignment at this point, and he's got to relearn it. And that's kind of my general gut reaction thought to that.
Yeah, I think, there might be a kind of, to me, very relatable, "I'll do it tomorrow" energy. He is just marking the days.
Yeah, that's me and most of my career, right? Yes. Great stuff there. Perfect. Thank you. And Bador, again, good to see you in chat. Love having you around.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Got one here from Patrick Horning, Ken.
Mm.
A little back up at around 4:56. Patrick Horning says, "I know you guys are not super versed in Legends, but if you could adapt one story or arc into canon, what would you pick? For me, it's Maul Lockdown. Give us some horror vibes in Star Wars." I'm
Mm.
not familiar with Maul Lockdown, but I really agree. I would like, as much as I ultimately want Star Wars to always have a message of hope, I feel like it can be real scary on its way to hope. I'm a big
Mm.
horror fan, and I would love to see some more horror in Star Wars. That's my initial thought, and I'll think a little bit about the legend stories I know and see which ones resonate.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the ones that I have read or spent some time with. Obviously, I'm one of those folks who does love the Darth Plagueis novel. Really do love it. I do think it hits on a
Hmm.
lot of levels you need. I think there's some adjustments to be made. I could care less about Plagueis' staff, or where it shows up. I don't care about that. But there's something really awesome about that story, and I think Lucino understands how to write a good Star Wars story. So it's a simple answer, an answer I've given before, Patrick, but I definitely would start there. But as far as other things in comics, yeah, you're definitely right. I'm not well versed in it. So I think there's a lot of concepts I love, and I love when concepts show up. Names. I mean, what's that guy? Alex Damon's flipping over Core and Horn, right? The kid,
Cornhorn, yeah,
Core and
yeah,
Horn,
very exciting.
which sounds like something you order at a fair. Can I get a Core and Horn? Um, I think, yeah, the Rogue Squadron stuff, and I know we got, the movie coming out that's not necessarily that, but there's so many people passionate for that even though I don't love Legends and don't connect with them as much as other people, I really do love the passion for stuff like that. And Rogue Squadron, that series book. So let's do it. Let's dig into something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because the legend stuff that I have read and do like, almost a lot of it has been dealt with recently in sort of revised versions. One of my
Right,
favorite
right.
legends thing is that Han Solo trilogy,
Mhm.
and it shares some emotional beats with the Solo movie and some choices. Probably, I'm trying to not make everything Kenobi, but honestly, that's the most recent Legends thing I read, the Kenobi
Yeah.
novel by John Jackson Miller, and I was actually reading. John Jackson Miller has a great kind of ongoing blog post about
Oh, I read
the
that.
history of that, and it just being a real champion of the show and excited about kind of things that agree, about the big picture ideas. There are one or two things in that novel that I think you would have to sort of tweak to fit into canon. But I think that might be a really interesting story along the lines of what we're just talking about. Because without spoiling it for anybody who hasn't read it or listened to it, it really is Kenobi just getting into Tatooine, processing his trauma, figuring out, how can I do this, finding himself in places where he wants to help people, and people want to connect with him because he's accidental flirting Kenobi, and feeling like, how do I find that balance? I so want to help people, but I kind of can't, or can I? I
Yeah.
think a version of that story when he first gets there, that'd be awesome.
I love that. Yeah, that story was going around today. I think I saw the blog, and he started writing that book or preparing for that book in 2006 or 7. It didn't come
Yeah, as
out
a
till
graphic
20.
novel, and then
Yeah.
it changed. Yeah, yeah.
And that Deborah Chow said she read it in prep for the show, and then Ewan McGregor says he read it after because he just wasn't done being Kenobi. Like he wasn't. I love that he's like, you know what? I just
Right.
did the show. I gotta read this book. I'm gonna spend more time with Obi.
Because sometimes, you encounter an actor and they just finished doing something and they're just kind of like, I need space. The famous Daniel Craig. I love Daniel Craig as James Bond. The famous, somebody asking him right after he finished Spectre, do you want to be James Bond? And he's like, no. And then, of course, recanted it and came back. But sometimes you get that with an actor, which I understand of like, this has been my life 24/7. I need a break. I love that Ewan McGregor was the complete opposite of like, I've got Kenobi fever too. I got to read a book.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
got Kenobi fever, and the only cure is more Kenobi.
Yeah, I haven't read the actual books or the comic, like they're like comic book versions of them. Some of the early Han Solo novels.
Mm.
I wonder if those would be adaptable.
Yeah, even some of the early Lando ones. It's been a while since I think I told the story on ForceCenter, but those were got those books from the library. This would be around the time of just after Return of the Jedi, so I'm fully in love with Star Wars. Got the Lando books, and man, that freaked me out because I was like, "Where's Luke and the Death Star? Like, what's going on?" No, I'm 7, 8 years old. Trying to know. My mom wasn't like, "Oh, this is expanded universe stuff." I was like, "This isn't the Star Wars I knew." But I'd love to kind of revisit that concept and just more Lando as we hopefully build. I'm hopeful still that one day we'll get that Lando show. It seems to me that might be locked in a little bit of development gridlock, but
Yeah.
I would love that. Love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got a question here, Joseph, that makes me slip into an old Dana Carvey, John McLaughlin impersonation. True or false? Next issue. Kenobi is wizard. More Kentucky.
That is a very good poll. True or false? The one quote I still have memorized from that sketch, I'm not going to repeat on YouTube.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next issue. Yeah, true or false? Kenobi is wizard. Not a wizard, is wizard.
True. Absolutely, verifiably true. And
Very
all jokes aside, I would like to see Kitster. I think we joke about him, but what happened to a kid who got left behind? I want to know the Kitster story.
There was we have been talking about Kitster showing up in this series, and it's always like a half, not joke at the expense of Kitster, but a joke at like, hey, it's a fun character we all kind of love. It's a good pop culture reference for Star Wars fans, but there's part of it that kind of made some sort of sense, So hey, maybe next time. So Will says Wizard is going to make a comeback, guys. We can make it happen. I do, and I do, and Mando says Wizard, and I love it all, man. But every time I hear that word, I just think of Jake Lloyd and what he brought to Star Wars and what he did with that role. And some of it was, a 7-year-old yelling wizard. And I know what it caused people, but he said it first, man. He said it first. So my arms are wide open to the legacy of Jake Lloyd in Star Wars. And every time I hear wizard, I just think of him saying it. So shout out to you, Jake. Shout out to you. All right. Cali Kid says this, Joseph. I hope they release an Obi-Wan style men's clothing fashion line at Target.
Sorry. Charles Phillips says Kitster is in the current Darth Vader comics.
Awesome. You know what?
Awesome. I am not caught up, obviously. Thank you, Charles.
Charles, thank you for that. I literally have been getting emails from my comic shop going, you coming to pick up your comics? So yes, no, thank you. Gaz Nottingham says it as well. Thank you all. Yeah. And Sabe, that I knew, but yeah, I'm a couple. Just when I catch up, I have a bag of comics sitting on my coffee table right now, but I'm also reading Shadows of the Sith, and I got to do that first before the comics. So I'll get to them.
Yeah, I read the first 2 arcs, the thing with Sabe, which I won't say anymore for spoilers, and then Palpatine being not too pleased with Vader, the Palpatine not too pleased with Vader again arc, but I haven't got caught up beyond that, so I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, and there's some stuff in the Greg Pak Vader that is referenced in Shadows of the Sith, and it's it's all.
But you had another question up there before I got Kitster distracted.
I did.
What did you? Yeah, what did you?
Remind me. Yeah, yeah.
You just had another thing up, and then welcome
Wizard.
everybody
Oh,
to Live Falling Apart.
well, how about this one? Lewis versus Michael Fassbender, James Bond. There's a thought.
That's great.
That's
That's
great.
great. Yeah. Okay.
What about this one? Alex Corr says, "What is your dream Star Wars project? Could be movie, show, book, or game." We try to refrain from pitching too many things here because Joseph and I, we work and live in Hollywood, so we want to keep some of that stuff to ourselves. But I'm not going to be shy. That pod racer game that I want to create, I'm not going to be shy. I want that to happen. A pod racer franchise career mode game where you build your pod racing team and compete throughout the galaxy for points and prizes. That's the project. That's what.
That is a very good one. I think that I want, and I think there are a lot of options for this. Well, this is a weird question because a part of me just wants to say, like, I want to retire from wanting things because what I wanted more than anything was this show we just got. There's a part of me is like, not only because I'm a big Obi-Wan Kenobi fan, but like, I don't know, go back to maybe like, I don't know, the 2010 and a list of things that I desperately wanted in the pop culture world, including, what if Mark Hamill ever played Luke Skywalker again? What if Axl Rose and Slash got together and made up and went on tour as Guns N' Roses, and I could see them twice, endless. And Doctor Who had already come back by then, but like Dr. Fate is going to be in a movie played by a guy who played James Bond. I feel like I grew up in a time where we were pop culture poor, and I feel like I am so rich. And like, there's a part of me is like, Ewan McGregor was returned as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Maybe I should stop wanting things. Is it greedy to continue to want things?
That's actually, for our generation, and we always like to talk about everyone's point of view and generations, the different generations of Star Wars fans. It's really important to us. It's important to move this franchise forward. But for our generation, the spoils are just downright silly. Including you talk about the band stuff, right? Like, you tell me Slash is finally going to replace Buckethead as the guitarist. I don't know. Did he actually Buckethead out of the band? I don't know.
Buckethead's out. Yeah,
Buckethead's out. Tommy Stinson's still on bass.
No. Duff McKagan's back. What the original? Yeah, Twin Peaks came back. That was another thing I deeply wanted. Yeah,
Twin Peaks. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And Kenobi was this series that you had wanted and I had wanted. Some people wanted, and then it shows up, and it's pretty much as we wanted. And we always say it's dangerous. We don't want to hold on to our wants. We don't want to be that angry person going, "This wasn't the Star Wars I want." But this one nailed me. And you're right. I almost have all right, it's just you all can do what you want now. I'm good, and I'll enjoy it, and I'll love it, and I'll figure it out. Though I'm excited about Andor and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Half joking, but I get it.
Yeah. And I just wanted to acknowledge how rich I feel in pop culture dreams coming true. I think something that will come eventually that I would really like is a show that does just focus on a Jedi in sort of active. I am just on a mission. It isn't. There should be personal stakes. There should probably be stakes for whatever community or problem they're addressing. But I kind of want to see on screen some of the things we've been lucky enough to get in High Republic, where it is a Jedi maybe we don't know, and their fate is wide open, and their personality is wide open. And it would be great to explore on screen the way Jedi have a shared philosophy, but they're all individuals. And a part of their philosophy is, how do I connect with the Force? How do I make what I believe about the truth of the Force and the truth of being a Jedi? How do I make that a reality? And what do I overcome to do that? And to have on screen, Kenobi was wonderful, right? But it's so intense because we all have had years to dream what it would be. I would love to see a show like Kenobi, but it's a Jedi in their prime that none of us have ever met. And it's just wide open to take them on their journey.
Love that. Well said. Well said. We got this little one here from the Cali Kid. Do you think I'll ever see live action Kanan?
Ooh.
I would love to, mostly just because I want to see right that sweet spot between, A New Dawn and Rebels, and see Freddie Prinze Jr. with like a ponytail wig on.
Yeah, I would love that. I think I think Kanan and Caleb Doom are great characters. Great characters.
Mhm.
Same character, but also a little bit of a fun name thing going on there. Yeah, I think it'd be great, and I think it's absolutely possible. I mean,
Yeah.
I who knows? Maybe we'll see how long the Ahsoka show runs. If it's a
Yeah.
one season thing, I kind of suspect it might be planned for more than one season. It's not the Ahsoka limited series event. And knowing so far, Dave Filoni having a kind of it appears a master plan with Ahsoka and a lot of the Rebels characters. I
Yeah.
think maybe even a kind of Kanan flashback, that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. And will we see a live action Jason Syndulla is perhaps the bigger question.
You know what? Actually, that's what I want is a little Jason Syndulla follow up.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, I've been picking a few. I'm sorry, I've been hogging the questions, Joseph.
No, I'm still trying to remember what good question we had going when I got
I
Kitster
can't.
distracted.
It's okay to get distracted by Kitster.
Wait, were we talking about the Obi-Wan Kenobi clothing line?
Yes, we were. Yeah, yeah.
Is that what it was?
That's what it was. Yes.
Watch me fall apart live on the internet. Yeah, the Cali kids. I hope they release an Obi-Wan Styles Men clothing fashion line at Target.
Yeah.
I just wanted to agree with that so much. Ken, if you could have, not just like straight up cosplay, but that kind of like the steal their look joke, something that just sort of evokes it.
Yeah.
Which of Obi-Wan's outfits from this show would you want to wear? Would you want to be walking around with like a nice bright white shirt with a little kind of brown vest and goggles? Do you want to go full meat cutter Jawa bartering blue with a little
I think
jaunty shawl?
if you've ever seen me eat chips and salsa, I cannot wear white shirts. So that would be out. I'm obsessed with Kenobi undercover, that trench coat and that hat hiding Leia with the beard. But I don't. So maybe if it was like a Kenobi raincoat and that was kind of the motif, I'd love that. But I think in the end, yeah, there's something about that sweet Kenobi blue. Though we've made the jokes about the Kenobi sleepwear, shoeless in a cave. I could definitely use that. But I think some kind of steal this look, blue Kenobi, his blue period. I think I could go there.
Yeah, no, a blue shirt. I know I could probably just do this, but I would prefer to buy it at Target. A blue shirt with a sort of a brown scarf thing. Yeah, I'd love that. All right. All right. I'm free. I can let go now.
Love that. Love that. Love that. There you go. Yeah, and Stephen Beck said, yes, I'm almost 50. I would straight up wear the entire Leia outfit from part 5 or part 6. Yes, I like that. It would be covered in food in 30 minutes, but still, yeah. Yep, that is me. That is me.
Yeah.
We'll be going here for maybe about 10 more minutes, and then we have to get on to making frozen pizzas and frozen burritos in our life. It's a lot of fun. You guys' questions have been awesome. We got a few more to get to here. We just want to let you know we'll be wrapping up in about 10 minutes. Joseph, anything grab your eye out there?
Yeah, we've got this one from Anakin Crespin. Anakin says, I had a feeling Qui-Gon wouldn't appear until the final scene of the last episode, and while it was a perfect ending, I can't help but wish we could Oh, no. Have more? I'm going to guess.
Here we go. He's got to follow. Have gone with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan.
Have gone with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. How do you think Obi-Wan's training went down? Do you think Lucasfilm will keep that kind of stuff a mystery in the future? I think we're talking about this a little bit earlier, and I think we're going to be talking about it a lot. And I mean, we, ForceCenter, and also the entire Star Wars community. I think as we get excited about the possibility of season 2 of Kenobi, that is the challenge. That is what Obi-Wan has in front of him, is this training with Qui-Gon. Maybe we'll learn that he started trying and then gave it up per our earlier question. But I think there's a good possibility of seeing that training in some way in the future. Totally get what you're saying about hoping to see Qui-Gon right at the end. I thought that was great. But then also like, ooh, wouldn't it be great to have more? There's a part of me sometimes where, I see things and I'm like, yeah, what I want is more. But from my own experience, sometimes as a writer, I also really appreciate when something is really, really just all it needs to be. It doesn't need to be anything more. And I really appreciate how incredibly minimal some of those beats are at the end. there's that longer scene between Kenobi and Leia, which I think is needed to resolve a lot of the issues and ideas and themes. And then the scene with Luke is we didn't need to see him conversing. We just needed the hello there. Elegant. And then the Qui-Gon conversation is so elegant. And sometimes I watch a scene, and watching a scene is like eating half of the frozen pizza. And like, that's perfect. And my instinct is eat the rest. And then I regret it.
Oh, I've gone too far. Yeah.
Because it's exactly what it needs to be. So that's how I feel about that scene of just like, it's perfect that I want more. I want to have wanted more rather than having it be kind of a long scene and get into the, is this show ending too many times?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. And yeah, no, and I have the desire to see what happens more with that. And I think for this series, it was perfect. And so we'll see if there's more. We'll see if there's more. And there's a lot of different ways, like we've been talking about it there. I just want to throw, I love this username, Brick Studman. And I, it's a game recognizes game. Hello, Brick Studman. Caleb Doom is a street in Malibu, I think. I'll have to look it up. There's definitely Canaan Road out in Agora Hills, which is a road I've traveled many times. It's off the 101 towards Westlake Village. If you're leaving LA, Canaan Road is definitely, it's spelled the same way. It is part of the inspiration of his name. But I'll have to dig into a street in Malibu. Don't get out to Malibu much. That's another world from where we are, Joseph.
Yeah. And when I go to Malibu, I always use the fake name Brick McWhiskey, which is very hard to say, but it's a good name.
Yeah, I love that there. Brian Ward, where was that statement from Brian Ward?
It's right under Anakin Crespin's first one.
Yes, it is. You saw it too there. I got to scroll back up here in the old scroll machine. This is we got one from Jay Seed. We'll get to that one too. And Ken Plume. Sorry if we missed some of these folks. I've also had too much of a good thing, and it truly. Did you see? Where is it there? Oh,
yeah, I got it. Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Yeah, Brian Ward, who is the man behind so many of the wonderful graphics, including the graphics for Databank Dive, the show that's coming your way soon here. All right. He says, what is your dream HasLab project? A Lola holster, the Black Series EOP, Kenobi goggles. Ooh. Joseph, what are you going to back? What to back?
Well, this is not a spoiler from the Kenobi novel, but in the Kenobi novel, his EOP is named Rue, which I just love, and I was hoping he was going to. So if the EOP was named Rue, I'd be in on that. No, as much as I want Kenobi stuff, and they're putting out a lot. What I want the HasLab project to be is I want it to be the Sith Arena on Exegol playset. So it comes with like the actual playset is built up. So you got some stands that you can kind of imagine some shady Sith cultists are in. You got a hole built into it, but the playset is cool, but it's really an excuse to make all these figures that I really want. I think some other people really want. Maybe not everybody wants, which is why it should be a HasLab project. But you listen to these dreams. You get Rey in the costume that is intact, but then you also get a Rey that's a little bit beat up, right? You get a actual 3 3/4 size Leia's saber that Rey's handling. You get Ben Solo, for the love of all that is holy and decent, a Ben Solo action figure needed. You want to go crazy, you get some more Knights of Ren because we only have Affleck, but then you get a big claw machine. You get just dangly Emperor, dangly Sheev, ghostly mean Grandpa Sheev, then you get perhaps best of all, you get the reformed Emperor, the one who has stolen the life from Ben and Rey and used it to make fancy robes with the blinky belt in red.
I need a blinky belt.
That one playset nails a ton of the figures that I think they are reticent to make because of the conflicts around Rise of Skywalker. But I deeply want those figures, and I think some of them would be really popular.
Yeah, you got my investment. I don't even know if I need to keep it. I just might help you invest in your version of taking that in your living room there. That's great. That's great. Yeah, I'm trying to give an answer that is related directly to the Kenobi series, not make it too jokey. But I really wouldn't, and I always seem to. I'm apparently obsessed with Butcher Kenobi, but the Sand Shark playset, just an actual life to scale Sand Shark you could put in your backyard, and then have little Kenobi and everyone cutting meat.
Oh,
Probably wouldn't go. I don't think that one would be funded.
I might fund it, but I would have to do a separate GoFundMe to fund that. But I don't know if that would. But yeah,
But what I would want maybe, and not to raise up the dark side there, but I wouldn't mind there's two options.
Mm.
Darth Vader's office with the hologram of Palpatine,
Oh yeah.
and put it in 6-inch scale. And then the Inquisitor ship with maybe 3 3/4 scale with the Inquisitors. And maybe
Ooh.
if you wanted to have it land on Tatooine, you could put like a piece of Tatooine landscape down below it or something like that. But yeah, I wouldn't mind that. It's a great design. We do love, the Empire at times, unfortunately, has cooler toys, and that's sometimes why there's a obsession with them. So yeah, the aesthetic there would be great, and I put that in my shelf.
Yeah, no, those are great picks. The Kenobi show has been so great, and there's so much amazing stuff happening at the end. I really want to go rewatch because I forgot how awesome it is that some being crashed there on Tatooine, and like, well, set up a meat plant.
Yeah.
And we need an action figure set of it.
Yeah, no. All right, so we're almost out of time. So I want to maybe run through some of the
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So look, I'm glad that we're friends because Ken Plume says, please assemble your ultimate Jedi Council. There's no way we can answer that today, which is why I think Ken is smiling there. So
Yeah, he knows. Yeah, he knows we're not listing 24 Jedi right now.
But Opa and Sissus would probably be on both of our lists. So there you go.
Yep.
We'll come back to that there, Ken. JC says, cheers, gents. Clink, clink. What more do you envision if we see the path? I'm hoping for Fallen Order 2 or more tied to their cause. And we'll try to roll through these somewhat quickly. But yeah, for me, I just like exploring it more and where it goes and how far it goes and what it means and whether it's Roken, whether you go forward the story, it's people like Roken and Quinlan Voss shows up, or maybe the establishment of it is even equally as interesting to me. So hell, there you go. Bring Tala back. Bring Indira Varma back to that role. Bring Ned B. That's the thing with Star Wars. You can go all directions with your characters. So even if one does die, there's potential to tell more story. So yeah, either way. But I'm actually really intrigued about the need to set it up and why, and the risk to get it going, just as much as the risk to keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's such a great idea, as used so well in Kenobi. This idea of the true spirit of Jedi people coming together to help one another. And I think I'm sure all the creative people involved, but I think lore advisor there, Pablo Hidalgo, he had a lot of names sketched on the wall to get us all excited about different things. I'd be excited to go back, like Ken is saying, but I'd also be excited to go forward. I think it really makes sense if we're going to get more storytelling with Riva. That makes sense for me to be something that she would want to do, because not only does she know how the Empire and the Inquisitors hunt, but her helping young Force users seems like it would help her heal.
I love that there. Kenosis, I love that name. I'm going to change my name to that. I'm not ashamed to say I shed many a tear in the Kenobi finale. I could feel a weight lifting from my shoulders as Kenobi walked away from Darth. Loved as much. Thanks, Joseph and Ken. It's more of a comment than a question. I'm with you too. And it's always weird where you kind of get teary-eyed where you don't expect it, or maybe, yeah, that makes sense, but then it just hits you in a way. The final hello there got me. And I'm telling you, I'm not done talking about it. I think I'm going to do something even more in depth about it here on their YouTube channel. Got to talk to Joseph about it. But like that bail line, because of where I am in my own life, it's very personal right now, of generations above me not necessarily interested in changing things with me. And for Bale to just answer his daughter saying, I want to make some changes, and him saying, then we'll change it together. I cried really hard at that one. It meant a lot to me personally. And that's when Star Wars can get you. That's why I always joke. I cry at Radis coming out of hyperspace because it means a lot to me as a longtime fan. And I cry at a Final Order, Admiral saying it's not a Navy, it's people. And I didn't expect that. In that moment in those theaters, and that's the beauty of letting the why of these stories and letting the poignancy of these stories get into your hearts. Why we keep coming back, as well as the Tauntauns making funny noises.
Absolutely. The Tauntauns funny noises, the weird dead shark, space shark meat packing. No, I mean, the more I rewatch it, watch the episode 4 times now, the more I appreciate everything going on at the end of Kenobi and Anakin's confrontation, and I really enjoyed it the very first time. But the thing that got me on the first viewing was Anakin eulogizing Padme and Anakin to Leia, giving Leia what she needed, but it was also for me it was what he needed to celebrate them. And then everything about the Kenobi greeting Luke. One of the biggest things that gets me in Star Wars and in life is when somebody gives somebody else what they desperately need. Sometimes they know that it's what the other person needs, and sometimes it's a lucky shot and they don't know it's exactly what the person needs. And Owen, a grumpy MFer, giving Kenobi exactly the gift he needed of, do you want to meet him? That got me. And then I had, just for myself as a fan, I'm going to see Obi-Wan Kenobi meet Luke Skywalker. And then Luke smiling up at this guy who's dressed for adventure. It was perfect for me, because Luke being like, where's this guy going? He's going to do something cool and exciting. He's got goggles and a backpack. I want to be that guy. It made me cry in 3 different ways in the space of like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. And he looks up and says, are you going on a damn full idealistic crusade? Because it looks like you are. Got a great super sticker here from Ed Steven. We really appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Love that. Freeze's got a question here. Says, do you think Mark Hamill will ever be back at Celebration to sign? He has an attendance in 2017. Do you think he is done with Star Wars because of the way Luke was handled? I mean, I have no problem answering this question. No, he's not. I mean, not only Mandalorian, a lot of times it's travel. This is one of those times where I'll just kind of disclose something we've mentioned. We are friends with Nathan Hamill, both Joseph and I. And I can tell you some of it was, hey, supposed to be there, couldn't get out there, travel, COVID, all those kind of things. So no, I happy to answer this question pretty directly. Not done in any way, shape, or form. Just the way of the world, the way the pandemic and shooting other things, I think, around 2019. And then now it was a little bit of a different time. So we were actually hanging out with Nathan on Friday night. So we can confirm that there's nothing behind that. Just the way it is.
Yeah, I think Mark Hamill is a pretty straight shooter, and I think he's, I think he expressed himself pretty honestly that at the beginning of the Last Jedi process, he had some concerns, and once the movie came out, he's said some good things, and I think he's always been an ambassador of Star Wars, and I think he will always want to be an ambassador of Star Wars. And yeah, for conventions, certainly that whole virus thing, I think should always be a big consideration. A lot of people have made different choices and careful choices because of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. So, but no, that's a great question. I'd love to address that kind of stuff there. Final question of the day. Ronan always does this, and it's humbling and it's great and helps keep the show going here. We really appreciate this stuff here. Ronan says, it's a scary, depressing day, and it is. And we addressed at the top of the show. If you're just joining us, we're broadcasting live on a day that is tough for should be everyone, but tough, at least we'll say, for a lot of people. But in the interest of bringing some light into these difficult times, who is one of the women in Star Wars that inspires you most when times get tough? I'm thinking a lot about Jyn and Lyra Urso today. Great way to kind of wrap up the show today, Joseph. Where do you go with that question? There's now, thankfully, more choices than we had growing up. But where do you go?
Man, there's so many choices, but honestly, and I grew up with Leia, and Leia has only become more fascinating and nuanced as some of these great books come out, and her role in the sequel trilogy and all that. But for myself, I just really been on a Padme kick. Leia and Holdo are characters who in Lyra who went through difficult times and found hope again. Jyn herself. But for me, I think the fact that Padme is so often somebody who sees that the path is not easy, but I'm going to hold on to the fact that it can be done in some way or another. Watching the Clone Wars animated series episodes that focus on Padme, watching her be intuitive and knowledgeable and right again and again in Attack of the Clones in particular, but throughout the prequel trilogy, and have the conviction to say, I am gonna find a way forward. And in a lot of ways, I think I think a lot about her as a character being this very even-handed approach that, in my opinion, was sort of like what needed to happen in the Clone Wars. She is the one who could see, hey, the people separating from the Republic have legitimate concerns, but raising an army, raising a fist is only going to make it worse. So we have to find a way to communicate and compromise. And then Padme also has that strength of like, but I'm not going to compromise on things like, say, invading my planet.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that Padme as a character has all of these skills, but has this great insight to say, here is when it is always best to compromise. In when it really is not going to be the time to compromise, then I will find a way to handle myself. Padme's been on my mind a lot lately.
Absolutely. We sometimes we refer to Padme as this great steadfast character, the moral center of the story. And sometimes we just joke and say, hey, Padme was right. And no one listened. And a lot about the prequels is a lot of people around her not listening to Padme. And might have been one of the lessons there. Yeah, Padme Amidala is a great choice there. For me, two that come to mind, I talk a lot about it there. So I'll keep it somewhat short, but I love the character of Enfys Nest so much because of what she represents, this idea of hope, the idea of this face of the new rebellion, but not the rebellion I grew up with of the military, the X-Wings, the Y-Wings. This was a true resistance out of necessity to survive and to fight for their rights and to fight for their existence, their very existence, as the Empire was just destroying it, planet by planet, community by community. That's what she represents in Solo to me. And it's also part of the legacy. It's also continuing the fight of her mother, and then she has someone else that we kind of see that one shot that she might be passing it to, whether that's her daughter or not. I can't remember if it's ever been confirmed, but it's just, it's about that generational fight and story and ongoing battle in Star Wars. And it just represents so much. And Aaron Kellerman's so great in that role. And it's a tiny, tiny little piece with this wonderfully designed character. And the Cloud Riders are awesome in their own way. And Weasel, who's a conformed, petty theft or whatever. There's so much there. I do hope we get more. And Andor is a place. I don't think season 1, but maybe season 2, the story could expand and a character like her could show it back up. I'd love to have her own series. But then the other answer, quickly, I'll say, because I think it's going to be, this will be an answer on more people's minds and hearts after Andor, is Mon Mothma. Who works hand in hand with Padme and Bail and others, could have easily just said, all right, I'm going to stay in my office. I'm going to keep my election, chances good. And I'm going to quietly shake a fist. But we know that's not what she does. We know we're going to see a little bit more her in the high tower of society and coming down to join the fight or lead the fight forward, and see her path forward as a rebel, as Andor Cassian grows into what he'll eventually be for her. And then she's a leader of it, and she needs to be that. And then that great speech in season 3 of Rebels. It's one of the best moments in Star Wars, of her just saying enough. I'm not even going to pretend. I'm not a senator anymore. I'm a rebel. And that great speech. And I hope someone's with me. I hope anyone's with me. And those ships start showing up. It's one of the greatest moments in Star Wars. I really believe that in all my heart. And we're going to spend more time with her. I'm so excited for that.
Absolutely. Can't wait for Mon Mothma. And then I'll just throw on, because we got a little bit more time with her, a little bit more to celebrate, Beru. The realist Beru of like, good, bad, or otherwise, this is what's happening right now, so let's deal with it. Thank you, Beru. Thank you, Beru.
Hashtag thank you, Beru. If you were watching, Joseph and I were in Alex and Molly's Star Wars Explained live stream on Wednesday talking about the Kenobi finale, and Alex made us draw our favorite scenes. And I am not the artist that my dad was, and definitely not the artist that Joseph is, but I drew my Beru crew shotgun blaster picture. Hang that on a wall. Brian Ward, can you beat that? And we love Beru. We love E.K. Johnston's expansion of her story. Yeah, there's the rock.
He doesn't. It's so hard to show up on the jet, but I got to draw. Yeah, there he is. There he is for just a second.
So funny because it looks like that picture is coming out of the Force. It's like emerging like
Kenobi with the rocks. There we go. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, Sally Von Baker says, we're enough. You and I. That's a great line. That's a damn great line. Love Brew, and it builds on what I've started to say. E.K. Johnston was really doing a great thing, expanding some of that character's role and her drive to help others in the galaxy, which is something I think would directly be attached to her connection to Shmi. So it's all great stuff. All great stuff. Yeah, Alex Roy says, "Oh shoot, that's so good, Joseph." What do you say? Are you saying this isn't Brian Ward cowers at my art skills right here?
The spirit is there. The spirit of that space shotgun is so great. I love it. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. Well, that is about it. We're good here. Unless any other question pop up to you, Joseph, but I think that's a great way to end our show today. And that's a great question, Ronan.
No, I know we missed one or two, but I think that is a perfect way to end with some great inspirations and hopes for the future.
Absolutely. We will be doing this again. We love to do these live Q&As about once a month. We'll be expanding. We're looking to expand in some of our things, just some of the things we do on YouTube, essays and short form videos, that kind of thing. Podcast is still our home. Podcast is still where our energy is. But we are having a lot of fun kind of expanding our community with you all here on YouTube. So thank you so much for listening. And again, don't forget, we start 2 wonderful things. Speaking of great art, The Magic of a Lightsaber Fights. I'll say it right this time. Part 1 drops Saturday, June 25th, a beginning of a series if you look in depth at all the lightsaber fights in Star Wars. And then Databank Dive. First season was on the Companion, but season 2 and beyond, we're going to have fun presenting to all of you here on the Force Center podcast feed. All right, that's it. Any final thoughts, Joseph? And I'll take us out of here.
No, just the quick sharing of where we can be found. You can find me Twitter, Instagram, TikTok is at Joseph Scrimshaw, and you can check out my website, josephscrimshaw.com, for all my other stuff. In particular, my other podcast, Obsessed, that I do with my wife. She interviewed me about my obsession with Kenobi. If you still want to hear more Kenobi talk, you can check that out. And Ken, take it away.
Yeah, you can find me at Ken Napzok, my website, kennapzok.com. I'm not going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, but I'll be doing comedy around Comic-Con Thursday night, July 21st, part of the now, I think, 5th or 6th year running Mark Ellis and Friends comedy show. Will be down there. Be a lot of fun. So if you're in the area, you want to make the choice to travel to the convention center, we'll be there. And then Thursday night, information on my website, again, at kennapzok.com. You can follow us on Twitter at ForceCenter Pod. You can go to Instagram. You're here on YouTube, Facebook. You can get merch at tpublic.com/YouTube/ForceCenter. You can also get an audiobook on us by going to audibletrial.com/ForceCenter. And you can support us if you so choose at patreon.com/ForceCenter. That's it. We'll see you next time, friends. Hey, choose empathy, find light in the dark, and let's all look towards a hopeful tomorrow. We'll see you next time here on Force Center.